What's good, y'all? It's Rose City Hoops. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, this channel, we're pretty much just going to be going over any NBA news, media, controversies. I'll be sharing my own opinions. And also, one of the main reasons I'm starting this channel is to get your guys' opinions, just to start more basketball conversations. And a part of that is me being someone who's always going to check my comments. So if you're someone who likes to kind of go back and forth about a strong opinion you have, then you're in the right place, because that's exactly the type of person I am. But let's get started on this video. Alright, so today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making some early predictions for the season awards in 2024. So the way that we're going to do this is I'm going to give a realistic prediction, and then I'm also going to give a pretty bold dark horse prediction. So obviously, with us being in the middle of July right now, we don't know what the lineups for next year will look like, but I'm going to go ahead and start with Sixth Man of the Year, and I'm going to just make a guess. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Immanuel Quickley. Now, Immanuel Quickley is a player, he can flat out score, man. This dude comes off the bench, averages nearly 15 points a game, 4 rebounds, and 3.5 assists, along with the steal a game. He's a player that I feel like really thrives in that six-man role. He's able to come in and just be himself, put the ball in the basket. And the way I see Immanuel Quickley is he's actually a very underrated defender as well. To me, Immanuel Quickley is one of the better guard defenders in our league. So with that being said, I feel like if the New York Knicks can finish at anything higher than the 8th seed, then Quickley should have good action at winning that MIP award. Now, with my bold dark horse prediction, and you guys are going to see right off the bat how bold I'm going with these, but I'm going to go with Keyonte George out of Baylor. Now, Keyonte George is a player who hasn't played a minute in the NBA yet. He just finished out his summer league looking absolutely phenomenal, averaging nearly 22 points, 3 rebounds, and over 6 assists a game on 46% field goal percentage and 44.5% three-point percentage on 9 attempts a game. He's balling. Keyonte is a player that I feel like will benefit great from the spacing of the NBA. Now, the one question I have for him is, are you going to be able to continue to make these tough shots that you've been making? And the way that it's looking is, I think he will be. And if he does, I think he could have real action at that Sixth Man of the Year award as a rookie. Now, the next award we're going to talk about is the Most Improved Player award. So, first, before we even get into this, I want to kind of go over the standard in which the NBA gives the Most Improved Player award. Because there's been years in the past where I felt like someone else had probably improved the most, but they gave it to the better player instead. For example, 2022, Ja Morant won Most Improved. I think he had a great season in 2021. I think Darius Garland was probably more deserving of a Most Improved award, but that's just kind of how the NBA gives the award. This year, as we know, Lauri Markkanen had an absolute breakout season. But had he not done that, SGA would have won, who I feel like also had a great season last year. So that's just kind of how the NBA looks at these things. So with that being said, my most improved player is going to be Mikal Bridges out of Brooklyn. So as we all know, Mikal Bridges was a part of the trade that sent Kevin Durant to Phoenix, which left him in Brooklyn. And ever since he got to Brooklyn, he's looked like an absolute star. He's been averaging 26 points, 4.5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal a game, being an actual leader on the team. Like, he's the clear-cut best player on this team. And I feel like if he can carry that over into next year, do it for a full year, and show, okay, I'm the guy on the team now, I feel like he'll have a very good chance at winning that Most Improved award. And honestly, if you want me to be real with you guys, although Brooklyn did have a lot of help from KD and Kyrie in the first half of the season in terms of where they were seated, I don't think they'll be too much worse than they were last year in terms of standings. I feel like they'll finish about a play-in team that may squeak into the playoffs. And I feel like if he can get there, they'll respect it enough to give him that Most Improved Player award that I feel like probably deserves. Now, for my dark horse, another star in the making, and this one could actually get interesting just because of what's going on with his team right now, and that player is Anthony Simons. Now, Anthony Simons is a player that I really, really like as a Blazers fan. He can shoot the hell out the ball, man. Like, there's times where I watch some of the moves he does, and I can tell, okay, he's been working with Dame. Like, he'll do little stutter steps or side steps, and it's like, that's Damian Lillard right there. But let me just point this out. There was a, I think, 11 or 12 game stretch last year where Dame didn't play and averaged like 28, 3, 6, shooting 45% from the field. Or no, it was higher than that. He was shooting like 42% from 3 on 11 attempts a game too. Like, he was going absolutely nuts. And I feel like now that Dame's gone, he's probably the most established player on that team. Some may argue Jeremy Grant. Yeah, Jeremy Grant probably has a better resume as of right now, but just based off of the type of player Grant is, I feel like Ant will kind of shine as the main guy a bit more. And who knows, Scoot may come out and just look amazing day one. But I think Ant really does have a good chance at winning that most improved player. I think he's going to score a lot of points this year without Damian Lillard out there. Now, for our defensive player of the year, my first answer, not very exciting. I'm going with Jaren Jackson Jr. again. I feel like Jaren Jackson is probably one of the most, if not the most versatile defender in the league. I love dudes who can block a ton of shots, but also get out with the Steph Currys of the league and go toe-to-toe with them around the three-point line. Like, I love bigs like that. Jaren Jackson is coming off a season where he's averaging 3 blocks and 1 steal a game. He's probably the best help defender in the league. I know some may argue Giannis, but here's the thing about Giannis. Giannis has Brook Lopez in the paint as an anchor, so he can help wherever he wants and knows someone got his back. Jaren Jackson is the anchor in the paint, so when he helps, he knows he got to get back. So, yeah, I think Jaren Jackson is definitely up there with the best of the best in terms of defenders in the league, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he went back to back. Not to mention, this guy is 6'11" with the 7'4" wingspan, able to move the way he does. So he has all the tools and skills. Now, for my dark horse prediction, and again, these are meant to be bold predictions, so I don't want to hear anyone, he's not winning defensive player of the year, but my prediction is Chet Holmgren. Now, Holmgren is a player who at Gonzaga was putting up Kentucky Anthony Davis-esque defensive numbers. This dude was averaging almost 4 blocks a game. And he's a player that you can tell he's not just long and gets lucky from protecting the rim. You can tell he really practices this. He's really coordinated when it comes to blocking shots. He not only has that really fundamental straight up two-hand game like I would say a Walker Kessler does, but he's also able to pin your shot on the glass exactly where it is. Like, he's so coordinated when it comes to stuff like that. I feel like it's going to be really hard to score on him. And the perimeter defense may not come right away, but when it's all said and done, I don't think he'll be a bad perimeter defender either. And then you add in the fact that he's playing on OKC, a team that's very young and promising, has playoff potential this year. They'll probably get like a little bit of coverage and attention. I think if dude comes out here and averages 3 blocks a game, he gotta be in the conversation. So yeah, he might be in that conversation. He might surprise a lot of us. Now, one thing that's I'm gonna just throw out there, it really has nothing to do with the point, but you're gonna see Chet get dunked on a few times this year. It's just gonna happen. Anyone who contests the rim that much, it happens to. But doesn't take away from how good of a rim protector he is. Now for our rookie of the year, another one not very interested. I'm sure everyone knows where I'm going with my first answer. It's Victor Wembanyama. This is a dude who I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the summer league games. First game, it looked like he didn't even know what he was doing out there. I think he was just kind of getting used to the pace, and it surprised him, and he just looked lost out there. By the second game, he went in looking like he knew what to expect, but he still didn't look fully comfortable out there, and he still didn't look like he fully knew what he was doing, and that's the scary part. He had an amazing game and wasn't even playing at his best. Like, I feel like if he's able to figure it out at all this year, it's going to be almost impossible to score on him. If he's guarding you on the perimeter, you pretty much can't shoot because he's going to block it. you can't really drive on him in the paint unless you just catch him by surprise or catch him off guard. And we don't even really have to get into his scoring too much because I mean he's 7'3". He's gonna get points just because of how tall he is. And then you add that with the fact that he can actually shoot and he can actually dribble and he actually has skills. It's like, yeah, he's gonna be a problem in this league for years to come. So I'm not gonna spend too much more time on Victor. Just because of how much hype Victor has, I feel like picking anyone else could be considered a dark horse. So I'm going with Scoot Henderson, who's actually my favorite rookie in this year's draft class. Scoot Henderson is a dog, man. I know we all know this by now, but Scoot has it. You know, and some people just have it, like they have that real superstar in them. He has it, bro. Like, he's gonna be a star. Unfortunately, the other day in his summer league debut, he had to leave the game early because of a shoulder injury. Doesn't seem like it's nothing too serious. At this point, they're kind of just being safe. But in the one game that he played, 20 minutes, he had 15 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. Looked extremely comfortable, was clearly playing at his own pace, didn't feel rushed. Looked like a true point guard and leader out there. I just can't wait to watch this dude in October. And he would actually be my clear-cut pick for Rookie of the Year if Victor Wembanyama wasn't 7'4" with an 8-foot wingspan. He just has things that you can't really teach that are going to translate over great. But I wouldn't be surprised if Scoot wins because I truly do believe that Scoot is a better player right now. But you just can't teach height. Now for our MVP. So for this one, I'm actually going to talk about 3 players. So the first player is who I feel like really fits the title MVP, most valuable player, and that's Nikola Jokic. I feel like Nikola Jokic should be coming off of his 3rd MVP in a row right now because I feel like he's way more valuable to his team than Embiid was, and I feel like the playoffs kind of showed that. But this isn't what this video is about. We're here to talk about who we think is winning next year. And I think Nikola Jokic isn't going to get any worse. I think he's going to come play just the same, if not better than he did last year. Nikola Jokic is a player that he's not going to force up bad shots. I'm not going to say not going to make the wrong decision. Everyone makes mistakes, but he doesn't really have bad games because his whole game is based around making the right decision. If they triple team him all game, he has no problem scoring 0 points. He'll sit and get 20 assists. And I feel like a player like that on a winning team has to be considered the most valuable player. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, I feel like Nikola Jokic has probably the best chance at winning MVP next year. Even though voters fatigue is a real thing, I feel like they gotta respect it. Now, the second person I'm going to talk about is Luka Doncic. And this is actually the person who I had bet on to win MVP last year. It started out looking great. And then I feel like Kyrie getting there, they had to kind of figure out a fit thing, kind of change things. Obviously, I feel like they'll be a lot better this coming year. I feel like they have a whole summer to kind of prepare for what they're doing. They've added some great pieces in Grant Williams and Derek Lively, a couple more people. I think they got Seth Curry back as well. But yeah, Luka, we all know what Luka can do. He'll probably come average 32 points, 8 rebounds, 10 assists or something. If Luka's doing that on a winning team, he's always going to be in the MVP conversation. And I guess this whole Luka point is based off of me thinking he'll be on a winning team next year. So be ready to see Luka Doncic in that MVP conversation. Now for my dark horse prediction. And this is kind of a weird one. This is somebody who we don't really hear too much in these conversations, but I feel had he been on a different team for a lot of his career, we would have been hearing his name in these conversations, and that's Damian Lillard. Damian Lillard is coming off arguably the best season of his career. He just averaged over 32 points a game, almost 5 rebounds, and over 7 assists. He's playing amazing basketball right now. He's playing the best he's ever played at 32 years old. Now, as we all know, Damian Lillard recently requested a trade. Now, that trade is kind of at a standstill right now because he only wants to go to Miami, and Miami doesn't really have the proper assets to trade for him. I'll actually be making another video about the whole Dame versus Joe Cronin situation, so be on the lookout for that. But because he wants to go to Miami and they don't have what it takes to get him, I don't know that he'll be playing come start of the season, but let's say he is. And if he is, it'll be on a fairly competitive team, I would assume. Listen, if this dude is able to put up anywhere near the numbers he's been putting up in Portland on a Miami or a Philly or a Boston or anywhere that's a either bigger market or a legit contender in the eyes of the NBA media, I promise you he'll be in that MVP conversation. Y'all have a good one. Let me know any future videos y'all want me to do. Let me know your opinions on my video, opinions on who you think will win, and I'll see y'all in the next one.